What's up guys, it's Joso Gaming, and here's a short poem. The Sealed King of the Quincy. Over 900 years he shall recover his heartbeat. Over 90 years he shall recover his intellect. Over 9 years he shall recover his power, and the world in 9 days. Yhwach is the god of the Quincy, and even touching him or being touched by someone who has touched him is enough for him to absorb your powers. This Almighty is an ability that allows Yhwach to see all futures, letting him pick any possible future he needs to win. This bestowal is known as a shrift, which Yhwach can also remove. His ability to nullify even causality itself does not work on godly beings, so Father plus God absorption would be safe. At max power, Yhwach has A through Z in shrifts, including the Almighty, as well as Mimi Hagi and the Soul King himself. The Soul King being absorbed is a big deal, as this king is the linchpin between dimensions in Bleach. The powers he has include fate manipulation, omniscience, and near omnipotence as well. As the strongest Quincy, Yhwach also possesses the ability to use Blute Vein, both offense and defense. The big question, how strong is Yhwach? We can easily determine that he is at least strong enough to destroy the universe, as he's able to destroy all 3 worlds, as well as creating new ones. Assuming that each of the 3 worlds are on the same size as our universe, it requires a lot of energy to destroy them. Our universe has a mass of 1.5 times 10 to the 53rd kilogram excluding dark matter, which equates to around 1.3485 10 to the 70th, or 1 with 70 zeros after it. Then we multiply it by 3 to get our true total for destroying all 3 realms to be 4 times 10 to the 70th. For anyone wondering how I got these numbers, 1 kilogram of mass contains 1.899 times 10 to the 16th joules due to E equals mc squared, aka mass energy equivalence. We then take that number and multiply it by the mass of the universe being 1.5 times 10 to the 53 kilograms. I also try to give an example here, but this is an amount of energy that is so large I can't really give an example for its power. For speed, it is just as insane as the last. With the shrift x-axis, Yhwach has infinite speed due to x-axis being so fast the actual concept of dodging does not apply. Infinite speed is, as the title suggests, infinite, but I can even get nerdier with this. If someone moves an infinite distance in 24 hours, they have infinite speed. However, this applies to someone who moves an infinite distance within 1 second. Clearly the one who moves an infinite distance in 1 second is faster than the other. This is actually bringing up another problem though. There can always be a faster person who is moving at an infinite speed via moving the same infinite distance in a smaller time frame. The x-axis can be dodged. Therefore, dodging did not really apply to it. There must be a time frame in which it moves at all. Introducing immeasurable speed, which is simply moving an infinite distance without a time frame, or simply put, 0 seconds. Speed is distance over time, so input distance being infinite, time being 0, we actually get infinite divided by 0, which is undefined. We don't actually know how fast it is for dodging not to apply, but we can just assume it's faster than infinite speed, leading us to call it immeasurable speed. Basically what I'm saying is Yhwach is insanely broken. Father, or the dwarf in the flask, is a pseudo-deity just like Yhwach. This dwarf tricked Van Hohenheim, the father of Alphonse and Elric, to sacrificing an entire city, giving both Van and Father extraordinarily long lives. This equivalent exchange gave both Van and Father over 500,000 souls to work with. As the first and strongest homunculus, Father uses this to make a new body for himself and his sins into whole other characters, able to just make a philosopher's stone out of the souls within him, making more homunculi. His plans include killing hundreds of thousands, all to one end. His main goal, eating God. To get this out of the way, Father is simply creating other beings out of his 7 cardinal sins: lust, greed, wrath, pride, gluttony, envy, and sloth. These minions helped him to his goal. This feat involves setting up a giant alchemy circle, to the point Father could just reach out and consume God. With this huge buff, Father can make a sun in the palm of his hand, but it's not perfect. Absorbing God has some drawbacks, and trying to reabsorb one of his homunculi led to his defeat. The power Father exerts by just existing is enough to negate other people's ability to use alchemy, but this would be no problem for Yhwach. The real question here is who wins between these 2 gods of eating the other gods. Yhwach has an entire alphabet of powers, and Father is so greedy that he consumed God. The long story short, Yhwach wins. Bleach has a system based on who has more spiritual energy wins, so not only could Yhwach potentially negate Father's strengths, but he could also just change his fate on a whim as well. Even if the fate altering does not work on Father, it can still prevent Yhwach from taking damage, as he can just do that. So Yhwach wins, but how? Yhwach has so many abilities that I will just spend the entire rest of the video telling about them all. In base, he killed the strongest Shinigami, Sayonara Yamamoto here. Ichigo and Bankai and True Bankai would have died in 1 shot. Who is the main character of the whole series. He can absorb any nearby energy with Sclaverai, Even having his name and powers negated is something that Yhwach can just undo on a whim. Even eating God isn't something that impressive when he can just rewrite the story whenever he feels like it. The only thing that could damage him required him to kill his own subordinates with Ashvalan. So each Stern Ritter or Star Knight in English has their own power, right? Yhwach took in all of their knowledge, powers, and spiritual pressure. Everyone who fought them and died takes their power too. Trips are epithets bestowed upon Yhwach's chosen, and he gets his powers back after they die. The balance, which is an ability to redirect any and all misfortune to someone else. The death dealing is about getting the exact dosage to kill things, like turning someone's blood to poison, for example. From arguably the strongest shoot staff of Lily Barrow, the X-axis. X-axis gives Yhwach essentially infinite attack speed. This is all just from him absorbing his strongest soldiers. Yhwach was already a god before he consumed Mimihagi, the right hand of the Soul King, and the Soul King himself, who is Yhwach's father. His light reduces subordinates to skeletons, and father would be powerless against this form of Yhwach. Lights out, and see you in the next video.